What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Be Heard, and in this time in the video I want to talk about the 2018 Hyundai Elantra Sport, the automatic DCT 7-speed. And the reason why I want to speak about this car is because I did a review a while back, about a year and something, a year and a half ago or something like that, on the Elantra. But now I want to make an updated version on that, only because of the new people who are new to the channel, people who haven't seen my channel yet, or just people in general just looking for a Hyundai Elantra Sport. So if you guys are here to buy one, or you're thinking of one, you're on the edge, you're here at the on a good video. I'm gonna explain to you guys all the pros and cons that I found on this vehicle, the things I don't like and the things I really do like. So to start off the vehicle on the pros and cons, I'm gonna go with the cons first, just because I have noticed a few things as I was driving right now. So I want to go over those just because right now my mind is fresh on the memory of the cons. So first off, one thing I want to go off by is the buttons on the car. They're good, don't get me wrong, they still work. 40k miles. I've had the car since it was brand new, 2.5 years ago. So this is my review of a 2.5-year-old, right? So the buttons, they all work. Everything works on the steering wheel. We're talking the buttons right here, we're talking the lock, we're talking everything. We're talking maybe the buttons right here, the sport, the heat warmer, the seat warmers. So we're talking everything. So what I want to go off of right now are the buttons right here on the side by the door. That, I don't know if you guys can see that. I want to make sure the angle is right on the camera. So these right here, if you can hear that, look, that clicking sound, they're like, they feel loose, like they have like a little slight movement, and it just feels like a cheap feel. I'm not really liking it. I don't really like how it feels, so like, I don't know, like so cheap. It feels really cheap. And like these buttons, they feel good, but these, they feel so flimsy, like flimsy, I guess. And then we have these buttons. These are pretty good, but these I just hate. Another thing too that I noticed about this car was, I don't know, like, it's rare, but at times the AC will seem to like calm down, or like start to get warm. Like, it'll stay cool. Right now I have it at 2 out of 4, but it's on the coldest setting because I'm in AZ, you know, it gets hot out here. So I do have it on 2, not on full blast technically. But the other day, just a couple days ago, when I was driving it, like, it got warm. I guess like I don't know, the AC compressor or whatever got overheated. I'm not sure. I was driving for about 20-30 minutes. Maybe that was the reason for it. And I had it on 3, so I was pushing it a little harder than this. But for the most part, I don't understand why it would get warm all of a sudden. And it stayed warm, between warm and hot on the coldest setting. It was like literally warm to hot the entire time for about like a full 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden I shut off the car, we pulled over somewhere, and we ate. I'm not quite sure what I did, but when I came back into the vehicle, it got cold again. So I don't understand where that's coming from. So that's 2 right there. The third thing I wanted to talk about is the Android Auto and the Bluetooth. The functionality on both is amazing. It's outstanding. I don't really have a problem with, you know, connecting either or. They're both perfect. When I plug into my Android phone, my Note 20 Ultra, connectivity is fine. I've had other phones, not just, this is not my only phone I've ever had. I've had other ones, of course. But one thing I really wanted to talk about was the volume of the Bluetooth is about 10 to 15% bassier, and just overall just louder compared to the Android Auto. So that's one thing that really disturbs me, because I love to use the Android Auto because of all the connectivity. Like, it goes through my contacts. I can do phone calls through it. I can use Pandora, Spotify, Google Maps, or if you have an iPhone, you can use, you know, all the settings that are on iPhone, messages, you know, you can use a phone call. It's the same thing. But I don't know why, if it's just me, but I noticed a volume difference, a noticeable volume difference between the Bluetooth and the Android Auto, being that Bluetooth is just a lot louder, bassier, punchier, and the treble is just higher compared to Android Auto. That was the third thing I want to go over. And the fourth thing that was kind of interesting, that about after a year of owning the car, I don't know if it was normal or not, but I had a professional install a stereo in my car. And I've had a stereo installed in all my cars, like from before this one, from the Jetta, to my Dodge Neon that I had, and I've never had a battery problem ever. The connections, everything was flawless. Everything was flawless. And it tells you when it's like a protection light and a power light to tell you when it's on or overheated or when it's off. And the amp was literally completely off. There was no lights, and it automatically shuts off because the car knows to shut off all the power in the car just in case there's no battery consumption. So I don't know why, but the battery ended up dying already once, and that was exactly after a year of ownership. I had to replace the battery. So that's another thing. I don't know why it died in a year. I was literally only pushing about 800 watts of a kicker. That's literally it. There's no dual subs or triple subs or nothing like that. It's just one single sub and the battery dies within a year. So I don't know where that issue came from, why the battery discharges so fast in this car. That was another thing. But besides that, the buttons and everything, the Android Auto and stuff like that, I feel like I can't really find any more problems. And I don't know, like, everything runs smooth. The car runs smooth, even though I have, you know, the bigger rim size, bigger tire size. The car still runs smooth, and I can hit bumps, potholes, stuff like that. Obviously, if you hit a big hole, you know, you feel the big dip. But on regular roads, speed bumps and everything, this car rides really smooth. It feels really low. So that was all for the cons. I wanted to go over the pros. So if you're thinking about getting this car, this is going to be the reason why you get this car. So I'm gonna go over that right now. And obviously, to start this car off is the performance. When you get this car, you compare it to any average car, any average SUV, or, you know, your average Honda Civic, your base model Accord, you know, stuff like that. You're talking about, you know, your Camry, your Corolla, stuff like you just name them all. But when you compare it to this car in performance, none of those cars really compete at all. Like, this car really is in a league of its own. I feel like this car falls more in the league of a Honda Accord 2.0 Turbo and the new Camry V6s, the fast ones. We're talking along the lines of a Mustang EcoBoost, stuff like that. We're talking cars with that kind of range, or maybe the EcoBoost is a little too fast, but, you know, a car like that, or maybe Chargers and Challengers, the V6s. Stock versus stock, this car does take out the V6 Chargers and Challengers and 300s. So if you guys are curious about that, like stock to stock, this car does take those. And so does the Mustang V6s, the 2014, 2013s. This car just takes those too. So there it goes for performance. And another thing too is because this car is so lightweight and so low to the ground, you feel the performance more than your average car. Because there's a lot of cars I've driven that are big, they're heavy, they're taller. You know, you feel the weight, and you feel, you know, sometimes on big engines, you feel another type of lag. Right here, you have a turbo lag. Yes, I did have a turbo lag. It's gone now because of the performance I did to it. But as it was stock, it did have a bit of a lag, but it's a different lag from a V8. Like, if you drive a V8, you feel the weight. You feel, you know, like the torque kicking in like a second later, and then the whole car just starts to rock back as it goes. It's a whole different experience. It feels like a big heavy vehicle. And then it's not the same way with the Elantra. The Elantra is a whole different experience. With this one, you're gonna get just straight up just launch and just pull your neck back. It feels almost like if you're only feeling the G-force. The car pulls, don't get me wrong, it goes up a little bit, but most of it is just all in speed. Once it pulls back and the torque just takes you, your body just flies back to the seat. And that's the one thing I love about this car. And another thing is the seats. These seats, I'm not quite sure what kind of seats they are, but it's not a leather, and it's not a cloth material. It feels kind of like plastic. I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, but this material, even out here in Phoenix, Arizona, it does not get that hot. Like, honestly, like, if it's 115 degrees outside and you sit on this chair, you're not gonna get burnt, compared to when you get leather seats and all these other like heat absorbent chairs. These does not do that. And the same thing when you're in winter. Right now I'm currently going into fall, but once you reach winter, these still don't get cold either. It's the same thing, goes for both ways. And then obviously with the seat warmers, you know, if it does feel a little cold to you, you feel like you want the seat to be warmer, you can just hit the seat warmer on. There's 3 levels to it, and this thing gets really warm. So there's no concern in cold weather use or even in hot weather use with this vehicle. Another thing I noticed too is gas mileage. Right now I currently have a module tune, I have the cold air intake, I have a catless straight pipe, I have some spark plugs that are coming in, they're still not here yet for some weird reason. And I have, you know, heavier tires, heavier rims, because it's a wider tire set with 255s compared to 225 stock. This car gets really great gas mileage. Right now, literally, because I was driving on Sport earlier, I'm sitting at, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's at 27 miles per gallon. Like literally, that's what I average on this car on a daily basis, 27 to 28 miles per gallon. When I'm on the regular mode and, you know, just hitting the gas here and there, maybe using the gears a bit. But when I punch it into sport mode, the thing I love too that people have noticed a lot, like my cousins and my friends, when they drive the car, they notice the steering wheel gets stiffer, and it's a noticeable change from when you're in drive. You know, it's just a loose fit right here, and then once you put it on sport, that's when everything stiffens up. It feels like the car's ready to go. And especially for the performance side, when the car was stock to when the car is now modded, you still get that noticeable jump. Like even though I tuned it and everything, made the car faster, you would probably think that the drive setting will be almost as fast as the sport, and it's not. It's still gapped on purpose so you can save that gas mileage. So right now, let's say for example I'm on drive, the gear goes down, I'm going 35 miles an hour on 6th gear. I want you guys to see that. So you hit it, the only thing you hear is the exhaust a bit, the turbo, and that's pretty much it. You just save gas because it just goes to the highest gear. But once you hit it to sport, it just feels a lot more punchier. And at the same time, if you drop the gear while you're on sport, the exhaust obviously gets louder, turbo. And this car, it has some pops to it. If you see some of my older videos and you hear the car just pop, that is not a part of the tune. That's literally just the stock car itself and burbles. It has little pops and burbles through the car's exhaust, and that is stock. You will get that through any stock Hyundai Elantra Sport. So you guys can hear the engine and the turbo. And you guys can hear the turbo just whip. Watch. Let me just get closer. I don't know if you guys caught that really good, but that was pretty much a third gear pull. When you're on first gear and second gear, the reason why I went for the wider tires, because this car really it's like tire spin friendly. This car really wants a tire spin, like really bad. That is really the only reason why I got the 255s. And even to this day, with the tune and everything, this car still gets wheel spin when I turn off traction control. And that's another thing I want to go over, is I noticed a lot of cars do not have a proper traction control button. And the reason why I mean for that is because a lot of times a button that they install in these cars, they don't come with a fully functional traction control button that fully disables it. You have to go into your hood, pop the little fuse, and then you go for a run, and when you're done, you have to pop the fuse back in so you can get your ABS and everything running again. And with this car, it's different. You get a traction control button right here alongside your sensors. So for when there's cars on the side of you, it'll beep to you when you're trying to go into a lane. And same time when a car comes up, you have like little symbols of little cars on the mirrors, and it tells you when there's people coming. So on this button, the third button, traction control, you can click it once, and again you get a notification here that says traction control disabled, and you get like the average symbol of a car burning out, and it says off on the top. I don't know if you guys can see that. You get that symbol, and then when you press and hold it for a couple seconds, you get another setting, traction and stability control disabled. So even though your car is kind of losing control for like a burnout or a first gear launch, and you really wanted to spin out, you don't want the car to cut off your power, you can go ahead and do that. and the car is literally like 100% like it's literally 100% off traction control, so you don't have to worry about getting no fuse or no nothing. Like, you have both settings. So the first one, just your average, and then the other setting if you want to go all out. But that was one thing that I really love about this car too. For the people who like that, if you don't like that, you know, it's fine. Maybe you live in a place that has snow, you just have to click on the first setting, because you do get some wheel spin and you don't want the power to get completely turned off, because this car has an emergency shut off. Like, I feel like when you're on this setting and I try to burn out or I get too much wheel spin, this car does want to shut off. Like, the engine just calms down. It has like a sensor to not spin out too much. So that's why I love that setting on this car. Good thing it has it, because if it didn't, that would have been a major problem, to be honest. But gears, super flawless. The gears in this car, super smooth, they're super fast. I notice on a lot of cars there's a latency. So this is first gear, I'm on it, and it's in. And then do it again, it's in. And do it again, and so that's one thing I love about it too. It's just quick response at all times. So that's enough of that. Also as well, for those who don't know, this car does come with paddle shifters, and they're not stationary. They're not the ones that stay stuck right here and you move the steering wheel and they stay there. Nah, these move with the steering wheel. So as long as you have both arms or one arm on it and you're turning the vehicle with the arm set right here or right here, you will be able to shift it at all times, compared to like the car's turning and you have to go and find it and click it. Like, nah, like this is way more convenient. It moves with it. There's a plus right here, the minus right here. I want you guys to see that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the review on this car. So just a couple things I wanted to go over, the things I love, the things I don't love about this car. I feel like I made this video a little too long, but just me trying to go over everything, the things I've noticed after the past 2.5 years of ownership on this vehicle. But so now we reached the end question, if it's a car you should get or not. So this car, I feel like has room for everybody. You have the miles per gallon. This car has shown me on days where if I just drive super calm, I'm just trying to get somewhere on highway miles, this car reaches 30 mpg, and that's not a joke. If you get this car on automatic, they say the manuals can do good on gas mileage. I haven't tried it to find out, but with the DCT, I reached 30 miles per gallon several times. Several times. A lot of times I reach 28 to 29 miles per gallon on a daily basis. 27 is what I get when I use gears or sport a little bit. But when I go hard on it, I reach about 24. When I go really hard on the car, 24 to 23. But this car goes really good on gas mileage. 2, performance. Performance is amazing on this car. And another thing as well is looks. This car really turns heads. When I put the rims on it and I put like the little spoiler lip on the back, you know, I painted the grille. I got the headlights and taillights tinted, the reflectors tinted, all those little minor things. The side window covers on the side of the windows. Oh my god, people just really stare at the car. Stock, yeah, maybe, but I feel like now that it's like all customized and everything, it really just turns heads. Like, people just really love this car, and I've met a lot of people, you know, places I've gone and everything, people just really like the look. So this car, you can't really go wrong. Has a bit of everything in it. The thing that you are gonna know though, this car did cost me $26,000. That was for the model I got, and it was with the sunroof, the seat warmers, you know, the whole infotainment system, the 1.6 liter turbo, DCT, and just pretty much most of the premium options on the vehicle. The only one I was missing was the bigger screen. I believe this is I'm not quite sure if it's because there's two screen options, like a 7-inch and an 8-inch. I think I believe this is a 7-inch, not the big one. Don't quote me on that though. I feel like this one might be the 6-inch one. I'm not quite sure, but it's in between those three. But there's 2 options though. And yeah, so after everything, this car is still running great. Just minor things that, like, minor problems, but that I would blame on myself, because I am pushing the car a little stronger than it's supposed to be pushing with all the power I have on it. So a pipe did disconnect through the turbo and the resin and the it's called the resonator pipe that goes straight to the intercooler. That was my fault because I was pushing it, and I installed a new pipe, a new inlet pipe, and I believe I left it a little bit too loose. So I feel like that right there was my fault. But besides that, I never had any problems on this car. And then maybe a little bit of the AC thing. The AC thing, you know, getting warm or hot for a little bit. You know, besides those two things, this car just runs great. And I don't blame the first part, I blame the second part, the AC. The AC is pretty much the only thing I've had issues with in this car after 40K miles and 2.5 years of ownership. So if you do decide to get the manual, I feel like you'll probably have more fun because the gears in this car are super fun. And I feel like if you got the manual, you'll be more interactive. So I know I made that video a little long for you guys. That's only because this is my second review with the vehicle, and I want to make sure I make it right this time and actually show all the cons and pros that I really have about this car and my true feelings about this vehicle. And this is like a last look around of the vehicle real quick before I end it. Please like, share, and subscribe. There's more videos to come. I have a video I'm gonna be posting up pretty soon as well. Another one for my current subscribers on the car's performance, on what it does. If you guys like that, if you guys are interested in that, please follow and stay tuned to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon on your way out on the video. Hope you guys liked it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.